I'm about to jack this up to show you right now that this wheel free spins after it's sat for a while. The problem is, once I go for a drive, it only has to be a 10-15 minute drive, I can start to feel the tail on the car that there is a problem there, that something's going on. And when I drove this to up the coast not long ago, multiple times I had to stop, let the brakes cool down because this wheel kept on locking up. It was making the car shake. I couldn't go faster than 40 kilometers an hour. I've already changed the slave cylinder. I was going to change the master cylinder, but I had a chat to Peter at Liquid Intelligence, and he thinks that that this stuff here will solve my problem. So I'm going to put it to the test. I want to see if this will fix the problem and not have to change the master cylinder as well. The Liquid Intelligence also has a seal expander and leak sealer as part of the solution. So that's going to be good for all the seals in the system as well. It's going to rejuvenate all the gaskets, seals, whatever, make them good as new again. Okay, so I'll show you now how easy that wheel is to turn. Push the car up a little bit. And this wheel as well. That one turns a bit easier than the other side. Alright, about to get into the brake bleeding, and you can see this wheel here, after going for a drive, it's hard to turn. You can see this side here turns nice. And I believe it is my master cylinder. If it's not the master cylinder, then it's my ABS. So I'm really looking forward to using Liquid Intelligence today, and hoping that this resolves my problem, as I believe it will. What we are doing right now is pumping old fluid out until I get bubbles in the line to try and catch all the fluid I can before removing the reservoir. This is going to help prevent losing fluid when I remove the reservoir, and to try and note down exactly how much fluid was needed. As my mate points out to me, I've been saying the difference between oil and fluid, meaning the same thing when I'm referring to this. I get this reservoir off. Okay, that's emptied out. Now have a look at that. That is disgusting. I'm actually going to put normal brake fluid into my reservoir, give it a shake about just to try and clean the reservoir itself up a bit. And that itself is now full of dirt and everything as well. So just holding my fingers over the holes on the bottom. So that's how it should look in there. Oh, look at that. Heaps better, nice and clean. The reservoir back on. Oh, it's an orangey colour, excellent. See, somebody's thinking over there. I'll be able to tell the colour difference when it comes out of the line. Down. There's no more air on the line. Up. Down. Just hold on to that. Tighten the nipple up. And we'll inspect that colour on the outside. So I thought I was ready with Liquid Intelligence coming out, but it's still green. So I'll keep going. I'm going to keep going, and when I get orange liquid into my cup, then I'll know that I've got enough Liquid Intelligence through here, and I can move to the next wheel. And each wheel after this one here should be much easier. This first one is pushing out everything that's in my ABS system and everything. So this is the biggest part of the job. So I don't know how good the camera is, but I can tell that's orange now, so I know that's Liquid Intelligence. So now I can move on to the next wheel. Okay, so job's done. I've got all the Liquid Intelligence in. I'd say there's probably under a quarter, maybe a fifth of a can left, so use most of the product. And I'm going to pour this is all the fluid I was able to save to try and get an idea of how much fluid was required. Now this takes 1 litre, so there's, you know, so you could probably say about 800 ml of that was used. So looking at inside the container there, that's what came out of my brakes. So that's pretty gross. And looking at the measuring in here, we've got 800 ml. And you can see how much better spin is on that compared to the beginning of this video. And that's been my problem with that side, that the brakes weren't releasing properly. And this side here as well. And I'd say that's pretty much even, both sides are spinning about the same. So we'll go for a drive now and see what it feels like. Alright, we'll hit the brakes. That's awesome. Alright, ready? Dang, that's awesome. ABS is really working there too. Just try not to skid there. I'll do a U-E here. Oh, the brakes are really touchy, eh? A sudden brake test works really well. Take it home now and jack her up and just see how good that wheel spins. And if it's anything like it was before, it'll be hard to turn. I honestly did not expect instant results like this. I thought it was going to be a week or two for Liquid Intelligence to start doing its magic. And to save me money on having to change an ABS box and the master cylinder, is a $600 saving there. Okay, so see how hard that is to turn? That's crazy. Alright, so it hasn't worked instantly like I thought it did, but it does brake a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for a couple of days, check it out again in a couple of days time, and just to see how she's coming along. Okay, so it's been about no, it's been exactly a week since I did that last test, and I got a little bit too excited about it, thinking that it worked instantly. And after going for that drive, you just saw, like, just then, I was expecting it to my driver's wheel to be freed up, and it wasn't. And I guess I was expecting a little bit too much for that to work then. I'm about to go for another test now. It's been exactly a week, so take it out for a run. Now, you can understand why I can understand why I got excited the first time thinking that it worked instantly, is because everything else I've used of Liquid Intelligence has pretty much worked rather quickly. For 100 k's, I'm going to hit the brakes a couple of times real hard. Make sure there's no other cars around. Oh man, that works so good. I'm very impressed with how much better my brakes do work though. Even with that one having a problem, the van does brake so much quicker, so much better. Go on here and hit the brakes. Oh, wow. I've really got to push against my steering wheel to stop me flying into the car, into the front of the car. It's awesome. My nephew borrowed the van actually 2 days ago to pick up a TV and bring it to his house, which it's an hour and a half drive to his house. Totally forgot about my brakes having a problem, and I've said to him, yeah, sure, borrow it. And it wasn't until yesterday actually, my mate rang me up and asked me how the van's going with the brakes now that we did the bleed. And I said to him, I had totally forgotten about doing that, and I had actually lent the car to my nephew. So I gave my nephew a call, and I asked him how to go, and he said he drove the whole trip there to his place and back with no problems. And that to me instantly says that the problem's been fixed, because well, the problem is mostly fixed, because what would happen before was not even 3 minutes into a 100-kilometer drive, you would the car would start shaking because of that one rotor getting so hot. So as a fair income test, I'm not going to just jack the car up when it's cold and say, yeah, she's working beautiful, and you know, I've got another car catching up to me pretty quickly, 100k zone, and he's getting up to me real quick, so he's doing a little bit more than 100. Okay, so let's see, I haven't turned it yet. We'll see how well she goes. Well, that does feel a lot better. It's still not easy to turn, but at least I can turn it. And I have hard pressed the brakes and see if it's any different to the left side. No, that's the same. Well, that's encouraging that they're both exactly the same after a big hard press like that. So now I'll take it for another run, and I'm not going to hard press on the brakes, just drive it like normal. And when I come back, I'm not going to hard press on the brake pedal when I get back as well. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I didn't record that drive because trying to keep this video short enough as it is, and I've done a lot of recording, so I've got to do a lot of video editing yet. And so I've just jacked it up. I've checked the oil level on the brake, and that's okay. And you can see the wheel there. This is a wheel that would always lock up before. Didn't have a problem with my left one. A little bit easier to turn by foot than it is by hand, but that's great. That's only 1 week later after I've had a problem with this, I don't know, a few months now, and I've been meaning to get around to changing the master cylinder to see if that'll fix my problem, and then God forbid having to change the ABS system. And it looks like Liquid Intelligence has saved me a whole drama in buying parts and replacing parts. Problem's now fixed. So once again, thanks to Liquid Intelligence, that just saved me a whole bunch of drama. I recommend the stuff. I recommend all of Liquid Intelligence stuff. Even if you don't have braking problems, just by changing the fluid itself is going to increase the braking performance. From what I've seen with my own van, and I'm doing a brake bleed full system change and putting the Liquid Intelligence in, my braking performance has increased triple at least. And now that front wheel is not locking up, I can actually spin it by foot like you saw, and it's equal to the passenger side now. It spins about the same when the wheel, and that's while the brakes are hot. Once they've cooled down, the wheels spin really easy, but that's, you know, the brakes have decompressed, the brakes are cooled down, and as everything cools down, everything shrinks. So you can understand the difference between why I'm doing a hot brake test, and yeah, I'm happy with it. And I know that 3 to 5 minutes into a drive on a 100 kilometer road, the front end will start, you know, and you'd have to pull over and wait for the brakes to cool down. It was crazy. Mentioned it to Peter, and Peter suggested you give it a go. Can't hurt. And did the test, did the bleed and everything, and I was overexcited on the first day. Kind of expected a miracle cure, I guess, on the first day. It was rather silly of me, seeing how well the brakes worked on that very first test. But still, I couldn't turn that front wheel by hand after a hot brake test drive, and now I can. So that's great. So I could only imagine that that's only 1 week. In a month's time, it's going to be even better again. The test of Liquid Intelligence worked out well. I'm happy with it. I'm not going to be changing the master cylinder or the ABS system anytime soon, because now that the front wheel is not locking up, there's no need to. So thanks for watching. This was mostly a review on the product because I hadn't used it before myself, and I figured for the first time use, I would share my experience, and yeah, hopefully that helps a few of you guys out. All right, well, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. And just one last kick of the wheels now that they're cold. Been about half an hour. It's all freed up as expected, but that front right wheel is definitely much better. Wouldn't have turned like that even when cold. It did have a spin on it, but not like that. Alright, cheers.